In this video, we're going to cover one of the most important areas of your business, and that's your marketing. Now, in general, marketing is one of the most misunderstood and underutilized and poorly applied areas of business. And regarding that, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news for you. The bad news is that unless you begin taking the marketing of your business very seriously, you're going to get absolutely smoked by businesses that do. In today's world, there's so much noise, isn't there? It seems like advertisers are just yelling louder and louder, trying to get our attention. Well, according to recent studies, the average person was exposed to somewhere around 500 marketing messages a day back in the 70s. But now it's a different story. In today's fast-paced economy, our customers are being approached with over 5,000 daily volleys for their attention. And because of all this noise we have to deal with, our brains are actually becoming trained and rewired to be distracted. In fact, according to a recent study by Microsoft, people now have an average attention span of just 8 seconds. 8 seconds. And what's worse is that that's 1 second less than the average goldfish. I know you're going to Google that one. Well, as you can see, the challenge we face as marketers is that people are only paying attention to a small number of those 5,000 daily messages. But here's the good news. They always pay total attention to what's important to them. And what this means to you and your business is that unless you hit an absolute bullseye, I mean a perfect hit with your marketing efforts, you're headed for your client's mental spam folder. And that's a place you definitely don't want to be. Now, this is an area where you can really make an impact with your marketing campaigns if you'll apply what I'm about to share with you here. Well, the golden rule of marketing in the new economy is this: communicate with emotional impact or don't bother communicating at all. And what this means is that if you really want to stand out in a sea of noise, while your competition's aiming for people's heads, you always want to be aiming for their hearts in all of your marketing efforts. Although using facts and figures downstream in the buying process is important, always remember that the logical part of your sales message is mostly used to shore up and then justify the emotional choice that your clients have already made to buy from you. Well, let's take a look at a few examples of what I'm talking about here. Well, one of my clients owns a company called PrecisionStriking.com, which is one of the premier boxing training platforms in the world. Now, when Jason and I first started working together, we spent a lot of time uncovering exactly what his avatar or his target client looked like, mainly by understanding the demographics as well as the psychographics of his buyers. By buyers, I'm talking about the people who are actually taking out their money and were buying his products, not just the ones who are liking his YouTube videos. Now, here's the interesting part. Originally, Jason had positioned himself to sell most of his training products to experienced boxers because he enjoyed working with those kind of guys. But guess what? These weren't the people who were actually buying his stuff. So after taking the time to comb through all of his previous cash-paying customers, we discovered that his true avatar client was a 45-year-old beginning boxer, not a 28-year-old experienced veteran. So with this new knowledge, we completely overhauled his sales funnels to cater to this new individual. Now, knowing who his exact avatar client actually is was a really important first step. But then we took the idea to the next level by taking the time to discover exactly what this 45-year-old beginner really wanted to gain through his products and coaching services. Now, on the surface, it seemed like these guys wanted to learn more about their footwork or, ways to throw a better jab or hook, right? Well, not so fast. Let me tell you a quick story to illustrate my point. Well, the other day I was working on a construction project at my house, so I headed down to Lowe's to grab a 1/4-inch drill bit. Now, at that point, do you really think I cared about how long Lowe's has been in business and how great they are? Not really. Do you think I really cared about the owners of Lowe's and how many awards they've won? Nope, I really didn't. In fact, when it comes right down to it, I didn't even want a drill bit for that matter. So what did I want? I wanted a hole in a piece of wood, or the result of what the drill bit could do for me. You see, in many ways, we're actually an obstacle to our clients reaching the outcomes or the results that they're really looking for. And it's our job to fully understand their desires and streamlining the buying process for them so that they can quickly and easily get what they want. Well, just like with my drill bit analogy, Jason's products are actually an obstacle to his clients getting what they really want. And here's where we applied the one thing that's been so vital to his success and will be to yours also. Now really listen to what I'm about to share with you here. We took the time to uncover the emotional payoff that his avatar client was actually seeking. Well, let me give you some examples of what we discovered. Well, first of all, his clients wanted to feel that they could defend themselves in any altercation and stop having any fear of being assaulted or embarrassed. They also wanted to gain more self-confidence and respect from other people. They want to know that their wife or their girlfriend would feel safe and protected by them in any potentially dangerous situation. And they also wanted to get into great shape and feel that the prime of their lives was still within their grasp and not just some distant memory. So while his competition's talking about how to improve your left hook or your right cross, he's now talking to their true motivation, what they really want, by entering into an emotional conversation that these guys are already having in their minds. And he's doing that by asking relevant questions in all of his marketing. Questions like, have you ever felt afraid of getting into a fight with another man? Have you ever wondered if your wife feels truly protected by you? Are you feeling that the prime of your life is just a distant memory? So now with this new strategy, he's selling a fast and easy system for gaining self-respect, for eliminating fear in a confrontational situation, for having their wife or girlfriend feeling protected by them, and enjoying the prime of their lives at any age. So instead of just listing off a bunch of boring facts and figures, he's now focusing his message on promoting the emotionally charged outcomes that his clients really want. And you know what else? He's absolutely crushing it in the sales department because of it. His net profit's up over 450% this year alone. And although this is just one of the many changes that we made, it's a really important first step. All right, let me give you another example. Well, years ago when service station attendants were still around, I heard a story about a certain gas station that was doing over 5 times the volume of the other businesses in the area. The interesting thing was, the price of their fuel wasn't any less than the other service stations, and their location wasn't really any better. So what was the reason for their overwhelming success? Well, the owner of this service station was a true entrepreneur, and he realized that he needed to separate his business from his competitors, but he didn't have a lot of money to spend on advertising. So while the others were focused on just selling more gas and trying to compete solely on price, he focused on impacting the emotional experience of his customers, and here's how he did it. When someone came in for the first time, the attendant introduced himself, welcomed the new client, and simply asked them their name. But here's where the magic happened. After asking the customer's name, the attendant was then instructed to write it down on a piece of tape without the customer's knowledge. After that, he stuck that piece of tape inside of their gas cap so that every time the customer came back, the attendant who opened the cap was able to greet him by name. That was his secret sauce, simply greeting his returning customers by name. And this one simple act of making their clients feel welcomed and wanted enabled this small business to literally crush the surrounding service stations in sales volume. Now my question to you is this: how much did it cost this business in time and money to implement this simple little system? Not much, right? Yet the results in gross profit were unbelievable for just taking the time to focus on the emotional journey of their clients and making them feel like respected and valued guests. So here's what I'm hoping you're taking from all this. Taking the time to improve the emotional experience of your clients is your competitive advantage. Because if you're competing just on price alone, you're a sitting duck for somebody who will do it for less. Okay, let's take what we've learned here and break it down into some actionable steps. Well, first, I want you to take some time to investigate and fully understand exactly who your avatar client truly is. Interview those buyers of yours, survey them, ask them questions personally. I mean, whatever it takes. And become a detective when it comes to those who are actually doing business with you so that you can structure your sales process to attract more buyers just like them. Next, once you've discovered who your ideal client actually is and what makes them tick, it's time to commit to the golden rule of marketing in today's world. And that's, I shall communicate with emotional impact, or I won't bother communicating at all. Next, I want you to start becoming very aware of the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to how other businesses are interacting with their customers. Well, Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, he used to drive his wife and kids crazy when he finally agreed to take a family vacation because he always wanted to stop at every Kmart and Sears along the way and secret shop them. Now, I'm not saying that you need to stop at 20 businesses along the way to your next family vacation, but you do want to become very curious and aware of what businesses in all industries are doing right and also doing wrong in the area of the customer experience and how they're treating as well as mistreating their clients. Well, next, make the positive emotional experience of your clients the new benchmark for your company's success, and get everyone on your team involved in the process of putting your clients on a pedestal and then implementing ways to make them feel, and that's the word I just keep using, to make them feel more valued. Then you want to make sure to reward those employees who come up with more of these great ideas. Next, I want you to get into the habit of asking any customer you can this one question, and that is, what's the most frustrating part of doing business with us? Now, the reason I say that this is so important is because frustrations are on a very visceral and emotional level. You really feel them. Like when you lose your car keys, it's not just like a silent, logical experience, but an, oh, I lost my car keys. Well, it's the same thing for your customers. So commit to understanding what these frustrations are from their perspective, and then go to work on eliminating them as quickly as possible. And finally, realize this. Making an emotional impact doesn't have to be expensive. In fact, when I had my granite company, I used to spend a fortune on advertising, running full-page ads in magazines and branding my trucks. But you know what? When I got to know my clients on a more personal level, I'd always ask them, so what's the reason that you decided to do business with us instead of the other shops out there? And you know what most of them told me? You won't even believe this one. More often than not, they'd say, it's because you sent us a handwritten thank you note and nobody else did. Well, after every bid appointment, I made a habit of sending out an inexpensive little thank you note, just letting them know that I enjoyed meeting them and that I appreciated their time. And that had more of an impact than all the look at me advertising that I had wasted a fortune on. Well, I'll leave you with a quote that sums all this up much better than I ever could. Maya Angelou said this, I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.